on the physical aspect of it, obviously, adolescents will be going through puberty, right? So there will be growth spurts here and there. Some of us might be getting into that awkward stage where we get really tall and we're not really that coordinated with our movements. So that's why we tend to move around oddly, if you notice, and maybe sometimes our faces haven't quite changed, not yet. You can also notice that secondary sex characteristics are developing as well. So hair is gonna come out from different places. We're going to notice more females will start getting their curves, and the males will notice that they're getting more muscle mass. That's why they start working out and stuff. Okay, so that's mostly due to the production of certain hormones. Okay, and because of these hormones, we can also notice that adolescents may be more emotional, or they may experience mood swings here and there. In terms of cognitive changes, you guys talked about Piaget earlier, so yeah, we're gonna so from the concrete operational stage, we're moving up now to the formal operational stage. So at this point, adolescents, what is this? They can hold more abstract concepts, right? So they can imagine situations, hypothetical situations. We finally form opinions on certain matters. So maybe this is why you can see what is that? Teenagers start getting involved, right, with certain social issues, because they're starting to break away from a certain identity and kind of have their own identity, and with that comes personal opinions. Personality changes. We might notice fluctuation of self-esteem because maybe in part of the physical changes as well. So some teens may feel and present themselves more confidently, while other teens may experience like sort of shyness, or this feeling that everyone's looking at them. So did you guys kind of experience that before, like all eyes are on me? So if you notice, we kind of go back to how we were back when we were like in our terrible twos. So at some point we feel a bit rebellious. We start saying no a lot more again, and we start to think a bit more what's this? We go back to egocentrism. So we're not necessarily selfish, but we think that we're at the center of the world, and that's why we think everyone's looking at us, right? When clearly they're not.
Para po sa akin, pag bata ka po, kaya mo pong gawin yung mga gusto mong gawin. Kasi nga po, bata ka po. Pero po ngayon, parang nagbago na rin po. Parang wala po nagbago sa height ko eh.
Hi guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk about Khryzelle, which is from ages 10 to 13 years of age. In this stage, the teenagers or children often grow quickly. They start they don't know for sure what they are, and they are confused at this stage. They are often self-conscious about their appearance, as I said earlier, and feel as though they are always being judged by their peers. So this is a time also where peer pressure is evident. Most of the time, peer groups contribute to what children think. That's why they often get misdirection on what their goals are, because some do alcohol, drugs, and may encounter sexual problems. So this is also the time where they explore being independent of their family. May also push boundaries and they react strongly if their parents restrict them. So that is really adult.
Ako po sana mag-volleyball kaso po hindi. As in, wala pa po kahit isa. Parang mahina po ako yung ganun po. Hindi ko parang makapag-sport saka po maging FA.
Okay. For early adolescents, they still fall under Piaget's concrete operation stage. In this stage, they are expected to start thinking logically. They begin to understand the concept of conservation and let go of egocentric views. Although they are more logical at this time, they still have a hard time in dealing with abstract and theoretical concepts. As mentioned earlier, they start to let go of egocentric behaviors and begin to understand the situation and feelings of others. In short, they become conscious and sensitive. They also begin to understand that their thoughts and feelings are unique to themselves and that others may or may not share the same thoughts and ideas that they have.
Katulad yung sinabi ko, ang kaibigan natuturing ko lang po talagang kaibigan o kapatid. Si Jay po. Tsaka
So now, let's talk about the social-emotional development of early adolescence. During the time of early adolescence, boys and girls show more interest in their appearance. They may start to show more of an interest in clothes and hairstyles, and some girls will even start to wear makeup. Boys and girls of this age will also start to worry more, and they may become more critical of themselves. They may have mood swings, and they may be less affectionate towards their mother and father or other family members. Rudeness is quite common in children of this age, and sometimes early adolescence causes eating disorder, wherein depression is quite common at this age as well. While socially, early adolescents spend more time with friends and begin to distance themselves from their parents. Parent-child conflict is common, and failure to anticipate long-term consequences of these behaviors may lead to impulsiveness such as aggressive confrontations or clashing outbursts. In conclusion, in early adolescence, we may see distancing from parents, identification with peers and peer standards, social status related to group membership, acceptance important, most emotionally liable time during development, and they may engage in risk-taking activities that provide emotional intensity. So they may also experience more mood swings, and they have lack of judgment in high-intensity situations.
Even since back then, I'm still very thin, and I always lack appetite in eating, or I don't eat much, and my body clock is kind of bad. I can still sleep in the night, but usually I get to sleep at 1 or 2 a.m. usually, and I wake up late for school, and my dad gets mad.
I could say that ever since the pandemic started, I haven't really done any physical activity. And because I just stayed at home, but I did start working out. However, I didn't continue it because I felt lazy and not motivated after. So, because of the pandemic, I could say that my health and physical activity is getting worse. Unlike no may pasok, I get to walk around when I go to school or when I go home. Ngayon kasi, I'm just in the house lang. I'm not allowed to go out. So, I'm just stuck in one place or environment.
I will say that must be honest that my current physical and health activity is very very bad. My body clock is basically or the other way around now. I sleep in the morning and I'm awake in the night. I barely have any appetite. I barely feel sleepy at times. I always feel tired. And it only started during during the recent months.
Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk about middle adolescents, ages 14 to 17 years old. So in this stage, physical changes from puberty continue during middle adolescence. This is a stage where most males have started their growth spurt. Like we can see that our child, as they enter the middle adolescence, they become taller compared to their early adolescent stage. Now this is the time where males experience voice cracking, meaning they experience that their voice starts to get low and their body is getting fitter and stronger because of hormones. For females, this is the time where they're gaining proof of their physical changes. This is the time also where they have regular periods, meaning they have monthly visits, their menstrual cycle. So this is the time where teens become interested in sexual romantic relationship. So this is the time where they question themselves about their sexual identity and they become more stressed because they want to have support from their peers, family, or their community. That's why the middle adolescence is a very crucial stage for having a outcome. So this is the time where they are concerned about their appearances, how they look. In terms of cognitive, their brain continues to change, as already stated. Much of this because of frontal lobes are the last areas of the brain to mature. That's why. So that is middle adolescence. I hope I made sense. Recap: middle adolescents are the stage where they continue to grow as a person in terms of physically and cognitively.
Regarding academics, I don't really have anything in mind because I'm just not thinking about it much. But about it, after that, I kind of have a passion for music, so I kind of want to be a musician, but I'm not sure if my parents will be happy when they hear that. But yeah.
As of now, well, honestly speaking, I just want to travel. Pero syempre, hindi pwede yun. I need to work. So, I'm planning to become a CPA lawyer. If pala rin. If hindi, CPA lang. Pero, yun nga, yun goal ko. To become a CPA lawyer, work abroad, Australia, then travel around the world.
So of course my current plan would be first to finish senior high. And about my college, I'm still not sure about which college I am going to enter because I want to be a pilot. So I'm trying to find different ways or different paths into becoming one, such as taking scholarship or working first learning a different course first before that, so I can start earning for becoming a pilot. And that's when I would start once I get my foundation.
What subject do you wish you could have someone else ask your parents to discuss with you?
Something I kind of want to ask is why why my dad cheats on my mom. Because I honestly don't know why. My mom is pretty a great wife, and yeah, I just don't understand why he would cheat on my mom and be unloyal and unfaithful. And I because I feel like if I asked my dad about that, he would be, he would get mad, or he would just tell me that it's nothing or something like that.
3 questions. If someone else was gonna ask them for you.
I guess the first one was the one I previously mentioned. And the second one would be, I guess, what they think of me right now in terms of my academics, I guess. Like, is it okay for them, or do they kind of want more? Because, yeah, I get pretty good grades in my opinion. But my dad still gets mad at me whenever I do something wrong or something similar to that. For the last one, because I also mentioned earlier that I kind of want to pursue music, but right now I'm at Westfield, which is a pretty advanced school. So when I pursue music, I want to ask my parents if they would think the tuition for the Westfield would be a waste, since I pursue music and not something like mathematics or science.
What were your most recent grades, if it's alright for you to share that with us? Are these the same, or is it different from the past? Have you ever failed or repeated any years?
My most recent grades no first quarter, yung range niya is from 91 to 99. Tapos if yung general average ko, it's 95.5. They're different from the past. Actually, mas mataas yung ngayon. Hindi ko alam paano nangyayari. Pero, mas mataas yung ngayon, pero mas nahihirapan ako pa na kunin yung grades na yun. Kasi, compared last year, 9th. Hala, I'm on 10th grade na pala. Okay, so compared to 9th grade, I had breakdowns. Pero unlike ngayong 10th grade na puro online nga, parang araw-araw nag-breakdown na ako kasi ang bilis ng lesson, ang daming pinapagawa. So parang hindi ko siya maintindi. It's ending up na parang I pass my requirements just to pass. I'm not learning anymore. But I'm trying. I stay up late at night just to study for my exam, tapos wake up early to study again. I haven't failed naman any year. Thankfully, I haven't failed or repeated any year kasi I put pressure on myself to not only pass but to excel as well, because I don't want to disappoint my parents.
So my most recent grades have been pretty high, like 9 of 9 with one subject, Filipino, that I confidently say that I suck at. I really, no matter how much I study for Filipino, my grades are just low. So I can really say that I suck at it. Compared to my grades from the past, my grades before were line of 8, borderline 70. In grade 10, before I repeated, all my grades were below 75, and only one subject was kind of 80. So I won't be confident, and I wouldn't say that I really improved, because the school that I transferred to is basically much more easier. Our exams here are just like quizzes from my past school. So it's just generally easier. That's why I would say that I have a line of 9 grades. But if I go back to my old school, I would say that my grades would still be the same, the line of 7 and 8. So yeah, I pretty much answered the third question. And yes, I have failed in the fourth part of grade 10. I just willingly dropped out because of mainly relationship with my classmates.
What goals do you have for your education? What do you want to do when you finish school? Have you had similar goals as a child?
I want to get to senior high. I want to go to LaSalle, Taft, or UST. Then sa college, hopefully, yun nga, UP Diliman, and or LaSalle Taft as well because maganda yung accounting na doon. When I finish, if sipagin pa ako mag-aral ng law, when I'm done with accounting as my pre-law, magbo-board ako, and if kaya one take, then one take, and if pumasa as CPA, I'll proceed to law school para maging lawyer. Tapos magbabar, hopefully one take ulit, tas yun, CPA lawyer. Tas I don't know kasi as of now, gusto ko syempre kahit mag cum laude sa college para worth it yung paghihirap or kahit pumasa. Pero cum laude, kahit cum laude. Then, when I finish school, apply to a company, I guess. Start from there as CPA for the company or corporate lawyer. Then, have I had similar goals as a child? No. Before, what I wanted was to become a ballerina or an engineer. But it changed because of time siguro. Then it changed into fashion designer. Tapos nagsawa ako mag-design. Tapos I lost path. Ever since second grade ata, hindi ko na alam kung anong gagawin sa buhay ko. I didn't have any dreams. Noong 6th grade, we were asked to do a speech about who do we want to become when we're older. Nilagay ko chef, kahit wala akong alam sa pagluluto kasi I don't know what to do. Then, nag-transfer ako ng high school, doon ko na-realize na I want to be an accountant. Then, nung grade 9, napansin kong maganda din maging lawyer. So, I thought of, why not CPA lawyer? Pre-law as my accounting, then yung law. Yeah.
My goal after what goal do you have for your education? Of course, learn aeronautical engineering and computer science. If ever my plan for going straight to aeronautic related courses won't succeed, I would learn programming and game development because currently I would say that I've learned some aspects such as modeling and 3D modeling and short programming only, but it's only the basic stuff. So I want to learn more about it. So that's my backup plan. So what I want to do when I finish school, after school I plan of course to work for not sure where to work, but I'm definitely going to work after I finish my school because I want to stop relying on my parents for money. I just want to be the one to earn my own money, and so I wouldn't be having any debt from anyone. I just want, they want to be somewhat independent in the future. So if my similar goal as a child, of course, becoming a pilot. I've been very interested in planes when I was a child. That anything about planes, I would be excited about. Coming to the airport, even if I don't see planes, I would still be excited. So that's really, it's really my goal. So I'm going to really pursue it.
Middle and late adolescents share PIAJ's final stage, which is the formal operational stage. At this stage, children, or adolescents, are expected to have an increased logical ability. But more importantly, they should be able to understand abstract and theoretical concepts. This includes subjects such as algebra, trigonometry, calculus, physics, chemistry, and other higher forms of science and mathematics. By this stage, they also tend to become more systematic in planning and reasons well. When it comes to hypothetical and theoretical concepts. By this stage, they also solve problems by creating multiple solutions and becomes more creative and scientific in coming up with those solutions. Philosophical subjects such as philosophy, ethics, morality, and politics are also now in the pool of thoughts of the person.
Yeah, for me, relationships are pretty important since yeah, when you live life, you basically gather and gain relationships. If you don't, I don't really know. But my relationship with my parents, it's pretty okay. Like we don't really fight, and we don't really have much problems. Yeah.
Yes, for me, relationships are important. Lalo na I'm just here at home. Like, relationship with friends, family, and with myself. My relationship with my parents, I only have a good relationship with my mom. Kasi yung dad ko, let's say that we're not in good terms. But we're talking, pero hindi siya yung kasing strong with my mom. Kasi si mommy, she's been there for me ever since I was a kid. As well as my lolo and lola. Sila yung nag-alaga sa akin whenever mom was at work.
Relationships for me, at first before I didn't really care much about relationships, even if it's just some casual or friendly relationship or friendship like that. But now I think that it's actually important because you can't really live alone for your entire life. So I just realized that recently. It really helps you grow as a person, in my experience. As before, back in my high school days, I didn't really have any friends other than the time I repeated. Once I got actual friends that aren't really, like forced or anything, I actually started growing me as a person. So they really helped me into becoming more academically active and other stuff. Basically, he added to my motivation in becoming better. So, about romantic relationships, right now I'm not planning anything because I don't really think of that right now. It's not really important for me. So, regarding my relationship with my parents, I must say that it has been better recently. Before, it was basically just shouting at each other and fighting. We always answered back and many different stuff. But now, I guess it became better. Right now, I feel like safer with them, and I feel like telling more stuff to them and being more honest. Unlike before, that I would always hide stuff, like many information. And now I actually start listening to them, like compared before.
How would you describe your relationship with your friends or romantic partners?
I really value my relationship with my friends because they're basically the people who are with me in my entire life as of now, and they're there for me whenever I'm down, and I'm there for them whenever they're down. And right now, no romantic relationship.
Sa friends, we have a healthy relationship kasi even though na online classes lang kami, we still get to call each other. Like we spend time with each other para mag physical classes lang. Kasi ang boring mag-aral pag ikaw lang mag-isa, pag ikaw lang gagawa mag-isa. So we like working together, studying together. Then we also we complain together as well with the amount of requirements. The romantic partner, healthy naman. Pero ngayon, siguro, dahil sa school, nagkaka-problem ako. Dahil sa time. Pero it's healthy naman. We get to fix it every time.
Same as for my friends, right, pretty much I only have one friend that I always talk to because the others, of course, not very active in social media. I must say that that friend pretty much considers me more of a competitor, which is why I'm starting to doubt my relationship with that friend. But overall, it's actually fine because we still have each other in different school activities, and of course, we're still friends. Like we don't fight or anything that much.
What are the different social groups in your school that you can observe, and which one are you in? Can you remember which social groups you were associated with during childhood? So basically comparing and contrasting them. So how is it different from the one you're in now?
The different social groups in my school are the pretty generic usual. There's the popular kids and there's the I guess more quiet kids and there's the outcasts in there. And, I'm kind of part of the quiet group, but we're pretty social with other people, but we just don't really interact with the other kids, or we can't really relate to them. That's why that's the group I'm in. And the social groups that was associated during childhood was pretty much the same, but a bit more quieter. There was only 3 of us compared to now where there's like more than 6, I guess. And yeah, basically my entire elementary was just the 3 of us. 4 of them, but the other guy left. But that's fine. And yeah, when I entered high school, I left my previous school to enter West School, and that's how I met my new friends and social group.
As of now, whom do you turn to for advice? Have you always turned to these people for advice, even during your childhood years? Or if not, who did you used to turn to for advice?
As of now, I usually keep quiet, but not all the time. Usually I talk to my siblings and I talk less to my parents because I kinda don't want to talk to them about what I'm feeling. I'm not sure why, but that's just me. And during my childhood years, I'll ask for less advice, but during my childhood, especially grade 6, when I was feeling down because my academics were pretty low, I asked to my mom for help. And, that helped me.
How do you get along with teachers and friends? And compared to now, how did you get along with them during childhood years? So, yeah.
I'm an introvert person nung simula nursery until 6th grade. I don't like interact with people. Nahiya ako. And kahit sa teachers, hindi ako close sa teachers. Di ako nakipagkwentuhan or what. Pero ngayon kasi, ever since high school started, change of environment, mas nakipag-interact ako with other people, with my teachers. Na it comes to the point na lumalapit ako sa teachers ko when I don't understand the lesson. Hindi ako nahiya. Kung mapalalo mukha ako ganun. Because I want to learn. I want to get good grades. I don't want to cheat by getting good grades. So I want to understand. So kahit mahirap, I ask. Lalo na ngayong online actually. We have a new lesson. If I don't understand, that's my seat work. I'll go to the Zoom to talk to my teacher and ask for help. So, I could say na ngayong high school ako, mas naging extrovert ako and outgoing kasi I spend more time with people na din, not only with my family.
So, how I get along with my teachers recently, I'm really not the type that would be all friendly and close to my teachers. I would respect them 100%, of course, depending on how much they gain my respect as a teacher. If they're really someone for you to respect, I wouldn't in one time try to disrespect them in any way. compared to my childhood years, I didn't care anything about my teacher. I didn't care if they wanted us to learn or anything. I would disrespect and be disobedient. I would chat with my classmates while the teacher is discussing. I'm basically what you can call a pretty bad student. I don't I don't really care much about them, unlike now.
So, do you think you've ever had difficulty interacting with others in general, and have you gotten better?
I had, yes, I had difficulty interacting with others because I had a fear na, what if I'm not good enough to become their friend, or what if there's something wrong with me? Basta I had a lot of insecurities with myself when I was young. Kasi I felt like I was just an option for them. So kung bakang my boat is sinking, ako yung huling pipiliin. Pero I realized when I entered high school na hindi lahat ng tao iiwan ka. Like, pag enough ka para sa isang tao, they'll stay kahit may pagkakulang ka as a person. So parang it opened up my mind and heart na I could interact with others and I could trust others. And choice na nila yun if hindi nilang pipiliin. It's not my fault na hindi ako option.
Well, yes. Until now, I'm having great difficulty interacting with everyone. Especially everyone. I don't. If I don't know them, I really have difficulty even just saying hi or greeting them. Like even eye contact, I would have great difficulty with. I wouldn't say that I have gotten better. I must say that I have gotten worse because back when I was a child, I would just be able to freely talk to anyone, even if it's someone older than me that I don't know, like a higher grade person. Back when that was elementary only, but starting in high school, I just degraded, like completely went downhill. Yeah, it went from being able to talk to others to not even being able to greet them. Yeah.
Lately, madalas akong late na kumain, mga nasa 3 p.m. lunch. Tapos dinner, mga 10. Tapos madalas mabigat ako kumain pag dinner. Di ako nagbe-breakfast. Tapos madalas sa midnight snacks. And of course, sweets, chocolates. Hindi ako mahilig sa gulay.
First of all, I'd like to say that I eat 3 meals a day for lunch and dinner. Sometimes I would have snacks or meditation sa afternoon or midnight snack sometimes. Or maybe midnight.
In one word, chaotic. I don't really have a schedule for eating. I have a semi-regular na yung breakfast, lunch, dinner. Pero that changes depending on my schedule. And then in between those, I sometimes eat, sometimes not I don't. Tapos minsan, it increases when stressed. So, yun. So, yeah, chaotic.
I think, to be honest, the way I eat now, I used to eat like before. I used to eat like very fast, pero lately I've been eating less and I've been eating slower. Tapos sometimes instead of just eating snacks when I feel like it, I try to do something else to mitigate it. Kasi medyo mataba rin ako. So ayun.
So how physically active are you?
It's a no for me.
Kasi
Kasi zero exercise. Tapos maglalakad lang sa mall, pagod na ako. So yeah, 0 to none. So 0 talaga, wala.
Considerable thing for me, like if I see that I'm like gaining weight vitamins or like exercise once in a while and try to regulate my diet if that's what happens. Because in the past few years, I haven't been sick, like actually sick with fever. And I usually follow my regular diet, and so far it's been, I would say, a one, because I haven't been able to go out and do physical activities such as or sports. Usually my physical activities are basketball, volleyball, or sometimes having a run or a jog around the park. Since pandemic, I'm not really permitted to go out to do those activities. So I would say that I'm not that physically active anymore ever since the start of quarantine.
So ayun, to be honest, I'm very, hindi naman very, pero like, it's hard to explain. Parang I'm not active, pero at the same time, I'm active kasi I'm not active pag nasa bahay. Since like, during school, I have so much nagawa, and since I'm multimedia, I spend my days sa computer screen, editing, shooting stuff, mga ganun. But at the same time, I'm also active. I mean, I guess I can even call it active kasi I also go out with my grandparents pag kami, nag-grocery, go to the mall for leisure, ganun. So, ayun. That's the only active part of me, physically, pag lumalabas kami.
It ranges kasi on the time and like for example before, pagka walang ginagawa, every now and then, minsan I engage in sports like biking or tennis or soccer. And then, when there's school, it reduces noticeably. But then when entering college, I did join the ROTC, so physical activity did increase again kasi yung sa training and stuff like that. But then, due to the pandemic, parang, what do you call this? Kumbaga yung halos whole day nakaupo na lang. Yun.
Other males who have growth spurt that's very small, but it's normal. That is our natural response to hormones. So in this stage, late adolescents usually have more impulse control by now, and it may be better to gauge risk and rewards accurately. So in late adolescence, you are thinking about things that you want to do in life, thinking about reality. Progress of working. We have like, for example, doing school requirements and we still want to have fun. So know what your priorities are in this late adolescence. Our mind knows how to organize life. Like that, for example. Adolescence, that's how we think. We think rationally. We know what's right and what's wrong, and we know a little bit of what we like. Late adolescence, we are more capable of moving forward compared to the middle adolescence. We think rationally. Carefully about our movements. That's late adolescence.
So far, I don't really have an idea about my identity. Why? Because I'm a little indecisive about deciding things in my life, and I usually lack self-reflection.
But how if you were to present yourself, how would you describe yourself to others?
Siguro I am very approachable and friendly, but at times siguro shy. Ganun.
Lalim naman. Wait lang. Idea of who I really are. Siguro, for my own perspective, kasi di ba may faces naman tayo ng sides na kung ano yung kilala natin sa sarili natin, tapos meron ding side na kung ano ang alam ng ibang tao about sa atin. So, baka mayroon din akong ibang, what do you call this? Ibang sides or personalities sa akin na hindi ko alam. So, I can fully tell na I really know who I am. Pero for me, yung totoong ako, yung alam kong ako, I guess, ako. Tapos, may I share to you guys how I define myself. Ayoko na malungkot. Gusto ko lagi masaya pagkasama iba. Kaso pag ako yung mag-isa, ayaw ko mag-isa. Naiintindihan mo ba? Yes. Parang alam mo yung madami akong kasama. Gusto ko lahat sila masaya. Though minsan kahit madami akong kasama, ang tawag doon, I still feel lonely, parang gano'n. Tama ba? Parang gano'n.
Okay.
Tapos, madalas, inuuna ko yung iba bago sa sarili ko. I guess.
I think it's kind of hard to give a specific explanation on who I really am, but I would like to give myself some credits. Like I tend to clutch or present my utmost qualities when I'm pressured talaga. So I think Adrian is more of a considerate type of person. He considers many things before doing something or saying something to another person. Thinks of his feelings, what he would feel if I said this, or what can I do to help this person. He's very caring, not only in the academic side, but in more of an interpersonal side, on the social side.
So how do I view myself? In a word, I'm an innovator. That's how I view myself. So if I have a problem, I find ways to solve it. Example, right now I'm working on a robotics project. So I bought a part, it doesn't work. I make ways to make it fit. So that's how I view myself. And at the same time, kumbaga parang underachiever din. Kasi I know I can do better, pero for some reason, I'm kind of hitting a limit. I don't know why. Pero I know I can do better. So, yun na rin yung who am I. Can I confidently say na I found my identity? Yeah, I think I can kasi I don't see it changing it anyway. I'm an innovator na I do what I do. And also at the same time, I'm a reservist din kasi. So that's part of my identity. So yeah, I could say I found my identity now.
Well, to be honest, I think I see myself as like kasi yung parang the first impression of people towards me is parang bully daw ako. Pero what I see myself and what people see in me after the first impression is like it's like a gentle giant type. Yung I don't fight back, but I don't just let things go how people want them to. I tend to be very protective. That's me. Yun lang talaga ako. I'm very protective. And maybe if you've seen my social media, I'm very bombastic. So ayun. I medyo makalat, pero that's just me also being trying to cope up with whatever stuff I was dealing with before. So ayun. In short, I'm a gentle giant lang talaga. In person.
Middle and late adolescents share PAJ's final stage, which is the formal operational stage. At this stage, children, or adolescents, are expected to have an increased logical ability. But more importantly, they should be able to understand abstract and theoretical concepts. This includes subjects such as algebra, trigonometry, calculus, physics, chemistry, and other higher forms of science and mathematics. By this stage, they also tend to become more systematic in planning and reasons well when it comes to hypothetical and theoretical concepts. By this stage, they also solve problems by creating multiple solutions and becomes more creative and scientific in coming up with those solutions. Philosophical subjects such as philosophy, ethics, morality, and politics are also now in the pool of thoughts of the person.
I really cherish relationships, most especially with my family. Syempre kasi from the beginning sila na yung kasama. And of course, I also cherish my friends, my relationship with my friends. Kasi kapag syempre wala yung family, sila rin naman yung makakasama mo most of the time, most especially sa school. Siguro ang nasa baba ng tier list ko in relationship is siguro yung relationship with other women siguro.
Relationships, important. I think naman sa karamihan ng mga tao, importante naman talaga ang relationships. About sa friends, para sa akin, super importante siya. Very important. Romantic partners naman ako. Sa friends, so since knowing you, Khryzelle, alam mo naman na mostly I depend on venting out and asking for advices sa friends.
I think relationships are very important to me because they are basically your support system apart from your family. Because sometimes families, like for example parents, they are actually quite comfortable telling them about their problems because maybe you're just thinking about just being a burden to them. So, or examples like that, like when you have problems with academics, you're quite scared because they might not manage your grades. Basically, friends or example romantic partners, if I had one, I think they're very important because they are more open and they are more open to you because you're both the same age, basically the same age group. Basically, they have an inkling or they actually know what you feel when you're having such events or such activities or such problems. So, an example relationship that I would give is with my friend. He's a long time friend ever since grade school. He's actually one of my go-to friends when I'm having problems. This relationship goes above and beyond. Like if I'm having problems, I'll be there. If he has problems, I'll be there. Like, if he has something to say, or if he just wants to have some time, we practically understand each other even without saying a word. So he's one of my closest friends or best friends. I think once you have that friend, like I have someone to lean.
So when it comes to relationship with friends, well, yes, they are important to me. Pero because I don't really have that wide kind of friendship circle stuff. Medyo may pagka-close off ako. So, usually ang friendships ko, they start with work or academic connection and then eventually maging friends. And then, kumbaga ang strong lang talaga sa akin is yung close friends with yung kumbaga best friends mo. Romantic partner, wala eh. Medyo hirap ako dyan eh, medyo awkward dyan. So,
Okay lang yan.
currently wala.
So I have quite a long explanation for this kasi back in June parang I had a girlfriend na who cheated on me. Pero I can't really say na girlfriend ko siya kasi she insists na no-label kami, which I agreed to. Pero she cheated on me. And after the whole thing, the whole fiasco with cheating, I've been clinging on to my friends so much more, even though I don't see them personally. Like, naghahanap ako ng attention from them, like maya, I need their constant reassurance, ganun. Kasi whenever I leave myself to myself, I tend to overthink. So, what I'm trying to say is sobrang important sa akin ng relationships with friends. For romantic partners, I guess I can brush that off muna. Pero with friends, I can say na for the last like 5 months, I've gained like so much friends online through this game I'm playing. We have a deep bond, and they're one of the reasons why I kept my sanity in check during those days. I was very sad, I was down. I'm in a better place now, and that's because of my friends. So
do you think you've grown as a person as you transition from childhood to adolescence years? What experiences were catalysts to your development?
I'm gonna say na I've grown as a person siguro from childhood to adolescence. Yung experiences na nag-catalyst siguro sa akin is yung experiences ko nung school kasi doon talaga ako like na nurture mismo as a person going to adolescence kasi most of my time in adolescence nandun ako sa high school years, so yung mga experiences ko na napagalitan ng teacher or napahiya, ganun, yun talaga yung nag-stick sa akin na or yun yung mga lessons na natutunan ko to help me grow as a person.
Definitely, like as a child, maybe in terms of my dreams, kasi dati I used to want to be a mechanical engineer. I realized I'm really dumb in math. So after that, aside from that, I used to be like super duper what you call this? Parang used to be very happy. You know how adolescence works. Like you're happy, and then when you become a teenager, you start getting sad and stuff. But I think now, the way that I am, I can personally say I'm matured compared to what I used to be back in high school, senior high, most of the time. So I think I have grown a lot as a person, and there are a lot of factors contributing to that. And one of the biggest factors is, ironically, what happened to me 5 months ago, yung cheating act. So ayun, I think now I can confidently say na I can handle things my way, even if it's relationships, but I can now. So that's all I can say about it.
As a child versus as an adolescent now, how Has any of your personal values and beliefs changed?
Ayan. So, as a child, alam ko madaldal lang ako. Like, I'm very talkative. Pero, now, as an adolescent, siguro, talkative pa rin naman ako. Pero, kumbaga, I think more before I speak. And, I consider others' feelings before ko sabihin yung mga gusto kong sabihin. Tapos, syempre, as a child, siguro, part din konti sa religion. Like, dati, very religious ako kasi ganun ako brought up ng parents. Pero right now, not so much. Religious pa rin naman, pero, like, I, um, like, I pray at my own time. Ganun. So, ayan.
Definitely. Because one thing I did used to hate a lot back in as a childhood, in childhood. One of the things I used to hate was being in the trend. Like I wanted to, go against the flow, crash against the waves, ganun. But now I like to just go with things as they are. But at the same time, I like to put my own twist to it. So that's one of the few beliefs that that change in me. The other thing naman is the fact that I used to want to have a lot of friends, like so much friends. I wanted to befriend everyone when I was a kid. Because I was like, I believe that if you have lots of friends, you're gonna be very happy. But as I grew up, I just realized that some people can be plastic. They only use you. But I'm not being hateful or bitter. But that's the truth lang talaga. So now, like, I only have small circles of friends. I have lots of friends, but they're small circles now. So I can keep them in control, like, who I want to be with, who I don't want to be with. So yeah. Pero ikaw, Khryzelle, you're one of my close friends naman din. So, so ayun.
So, for late adolescents, their social-emotional development, this is the period when young adults, or commonly known as late adolescents, become more comfortable with their body images and sexuality. Youths in this stage of development typically seek one-on-one committed relationships and intimacy. They usually become more self-reliant and focus less on the opinions of their peers. Late adolescence development is the time when goals for the future actually becomes more defined. Moral exploration might also begin during this stage of emotional growth. The maturing individual might start thinking about moral issues on a global level and how he or she fits into that equation. This young person might begin to weigh the moral implications of his or her decisions already. Late adolescence development typically includes a period of spiritual exploration as part of the identity-seeking process. This is the period where moral and spiritual beliefs might actually start to gain more of an importance. Thinking typically becomes more conceptual to prepare the teen for adulthood during late adolescence development. Social awareness and questioning authority also commonly occur during the middle stage of growth. So in conclusion, during this stage, adolescents may be more likely to display affect regulation and understand consequences of behaviors and act appropriately even in emotionally laden situations. However, for many, this is still a developing capacity. Self-image and self-identity, may it be negative or positive, is largely formed based on experience and perception of one's place in this society.
Hey guys, what's up? So today we're going to talk about an application theory of Sigmund Freud to early adolescence. The theory is called psychosexual stages of development. Sigmund Freud's theory has 5 stages. We're going to focus on the 4th stage, which is the latest stage. Its age group is from 6 to puberty, which implies to early adolescence, because as we up early adolescence as an age group of 10 to 13 years old, which is the start of puberty for children. So, in latency stage, this is the time where the superego but the its energy are suppressed. This is the time where children start to develop their social skills, values, relationship with peers and adults outside the family. This stage is the time of exploration in which sexual energy is suppressed or dormant, but this energy of pleasure is still there, but is diverted into some other areas such as intellectual pursuits and social interaction. It is important for children to undergo this stage and meet their satisfaction in order to develop good communication skills, social skills, and gain their self-confidence. So that's what latency stage is all about. And it implies in early adolescence because it is true that when we are adult, when we are from ages 10 to 13, we are curious and very interactive with others. And it is important that we meet our pleasure, what we feel as an early adolescent. This time we're going to relate it to middle to late adolescence. A brief background about the last stage of psychosexual stage of development is the delta stage, is the age range from puberty to development. And middle to late adolescence falls under this stage because the age group from middle to late is 14 to 20 years old. So in this stage, the final stage of psychosexual development, our sexual pleasure has been activated again during puberty, and this is the time when we develop strong sexual interest in the opposite sex. In this stage, we begin to establish a balance between various life areas, and we are known to be, in this stage, we are known to be caring, warm, rational thinkers. Freud believed that the ego and superego are fully formed and functioning at this stage. So we know the glimpse of reality. The middle and late knows the glimpse of reality. And they know how to balance their most basic urges. And they know the demands of reality. That's it for genital stage and middle adult.
Cognitive development is a term used to describe the changes of a person's mental processes as one grows. So this includes the development of learning, thinking, abstract, reasoning, understanding, and other cognitive processes. So one of the most widely accepted theories when it comes to cognitive development is Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. So this theory describes cognitive development in 4 stages. First is sensory motor, next is pre-operational, third is concrete operational, and the fourth is formal operational stage. So according to Piaget, each stage gets more complex as it goes on, and he claims that no stage is allowed to be skipped. So for adolescents, we will be focusing on 2 stages, namely the concrete and the formal operational stages.
So now we're going to be talking about the theory by Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson gave the psychosocial theory of development. He proposed that humans are motivated to achieve competence in various areas of life. Erikson explained in his theory how our personalities are influenced by the social experiences we gain throughout our lives. He described psychosocial development through 8 different stages. In each stage, an individual experiences a psychological crisis which may yield positive or negative outcomes. An individual may reach their fullest potential during the crisis or they may fail. People progress through a series of stages as they grow and change throughout life. During each stage, people face a developmental conflict that must be resolved to successfully develop the primary virtue of that stage. Now we're going to be talking about the 5th stage of Erik Erikson's psychosocial development theory. So in this stage, we're going to be discussing about the conflict experienced by adolescents in general. Identity versus role confusion. This stage occurs approximately between the ages of 12 and 18, and adolescents are eager to explore their personal identity and a sense of self. So during the adolescent stage, the transition from childhood to adulthood is most important. Children are becoming more independent, and this means that this is the time of life where they are transitioning from being a child, wherein they were told to do and what not to do, to being an adult where they must now know what's right and what is wrong just by themselves. This is the stage where they need to figure out a lot about themselves, and the main element is the development of personal identity. They need to explore their ideas, beliefs, opinions about academics, relationships, and so many other things in this world. Throughout social interaction, a conscious sense of self also develops with various new experiences and day-to-day interactions in life. Adolescents need to figure out the roles they will occupy as an adult eventually. It is during this stage that adolescents will examine their identity and try to find out exactly who he or she is. The common question in this stage is, who am I? So Erickson suggests that the two identities are involved, the sexual and the occupational. Erickson claims that the adolescent may feel uncomfortable about their body for a while until they can adapt and grow into the changes that they are currently experiencing. Success in this stage will also lead to the virtue of fidelity, wherein fidelity is defined as being involved in being able to commit oneself to others on the basis of accepting others even when there may be ideological differences. During this period, they explore possibilities and begin to form their own identity based upon the outcome of their explorations. Failure to establish a sense of identity within society can lead to role confusion. Role confusion involves the individual not being sure about themselves or their place in society. In response to role confusion or identity crisis, an adolescent may begin to experiment with different lifestyles, maybe in accordance to work, education, or maybe even political activities.
So we can look at this through maybe a biopsychosocial model. If you guys are familiar, right? We consider many factors, many perspectives. We don't just stick with one. So with the biopsychosocial model, we consider the physical and biological side of things, the psychological aspect of it, and then the social part of it. And with social, we're talking about the family unit. Okay, so that's the smallest, right? Family unit, maybe school, and then community, and then gets bigger. So in this case, wow, see, I don't even know where to start. If it's okay, if I may ask, do we have some examples of
example A is ano po? Dapat ba bigyan ng opinion? Because ano po, miss, I'm actually not sure. For example, ako po, miss, I'm past 20 years old na po. So, I'm way past, or technically I'm finished with the formal operational stage. Pero, I don't know. I'm not mature. I'm not sure. Or, like, ano po ba? Does maturity fall under cognitive development? Or is it like on a different?
I appreciate the honesty and the observations and that question as well. And, you know, when I'm looking at this question, I'm also thinking about myself because I also certainly don't feel like a real adult. But anyway, I feel that there's a historical aspect to this, right? Because if you think about maybe, I don't know, 100 years back, or maybe even 50 years ago, you know, how things were really different, right? Especially in, like, consider countries that are still developing, right? So maybe education wasn't that much of a priority. Folks back then were really focused on working, right? So as soon as children were physically able, they would be sent, you know, to do the work. They were sent to do the work, to support the family and to do other things. Maybe, you know, partly because the technology isn't there as well, right? And then we go to another generation that was sort of formed during, you know, wars, right? People were mobilizing troops and producing things. Was school really super important back then? You know, what were these people really focused on, right? So it was just working again. So you know, if we see people at that time, we think, oh wow, they're really mature, right? They're working. I hope I'm making some sense here. But now when you see this generation, I don't want to do generation blaming, okay? Because we shouldn't. That's something we shouldn't be doing. If we look at maybe our parents' time, or maybe our grandparents' time, there was a lot of crazy stuff was happening, I'm sure, right? So we think of Marcos era and the rise and fall of the economy, right? And so we also know that most, if not all, of our parents sort of went through economic hardships, right? And of course, what do our parents want for their children, right? We only want the best, and we don't want our children to experience what we experienced. So what are we going to do? We're going to put all our money we're going to invest everything in their education. We're going to make sure that they have a roof over their heads. We're going to make sure that they're well provided with everything. So I'm not going to blame the parents either, but it's sort of, you know, that practice that, you know, we want to protect our kids. I hope I'm making some sense. I forgot where I'm going with this thought, but you kind of see how these reactions of the generations, it's sort of that adolescents aren't really mature. You can also, you know, consider what's been happening with I don't know. It's like a mix. There are like social issues happening as well. The rise of media and technology. You know, it's all happening at the same time. And if you think of our generation, like the 90s, we were kind of born at the time when the internet was starting to become more accessible, and technology again. So there's a lot of things to talk about to explain why adolescents don't quite think like adults. But wow, I think I just realized the really quick answer. The quick answer is because our brains are not fully formed at the adolescent stage. Maybe rebellion is a strong term here, but definitely conflict is necessary. Okay, not just not just in familial relationships, in any relationship in general. If you guys have your group dynamics, I don't know if you do, but when a group forms, they have certain stages, right? And part of it is storming, which is the conflict part. And then when things get sorted out, the group works more effectively because you sort these things out, right? So in this sense, the way I'm reading this, I'm thinking, is this from the perspective of typical Filipino family? Is it coming from there? Yeah, I see the smile. Yeah. Okay. Because definitely, with a culture like this, that's so family oriented, right? Family first, respect your elders. Don't talk back. If you're speaking your mind, it's disrespectful. Or when you do things that the family doesn't want, that's already considered rebellion, right? That's definitely a big challenge, right? And again, it's a cultural thing. We kind of want to keep the family together, right? But when some children probably want to break away, right, and separate. This is actually normal, okay? This kind of conflict in the family. If I may also add, adolescent, the stage that, in terms of cognitive development, adolescents begin to realize that parents are just human beings and not the superheroes that we believed they were when we were younger, right? So when these perceptions are shattered, maybe for some violently shattered or broken, this is where maybe their resentment comes, or maybe this is also the part where teens begin to assert themselves, right? Assert their identities and saying, I'm not you, I'm different from you, or my opinions differ from the family, right? So we definitely need this. Okay, it's just kind of tough in this culture in particular. Okay, compared to more individualistic countries, right? Some like in America, for example, teenagers, as soon as they hit 18 or maybe a bit older, they want to start moving out, and that's okay, right? But then if you also notice, maybe at a time like this, parents are also noticing, I want my kids to stay with me. So yeah, definitely conflict is important. Maybe not the resentful, spiteful rebellion, but a healthy assertion of the self. We definitely need that, and that should be part of family experience, I suppose. Yes, and to definitely become more independent. Should I add? Yeah, because I guess with when we are so dependent on parents, we tend to take on their thinking as well. Right? So again, this kind of conflict helps us also in terms of thoughts and mind, sort of break away from that and start thinking for ourselves.